I compare an experience that I have in Copenhagen. I was at the Environment Summit, and we were in Copenhagen taking the electric train. And I compared that experience with the rear rail train that I take to Ottawa, from Union Station to Ottawa. And let me tell you, I think some of you are starting to laugh about that, the difference of the experience. On the electric train is smooth, it's quiet, it's right on time to the second. Okay? And when the time said, they said that it would arrive at 2:06. It comes bang on at 2:06. And it is so smooth that you can hardly notice that you are actually on the train. My experience on rear rail, and I take it quite often, was not only is it polluting, it's noisier, it's never on time, and it is just very inferior. Mind you, it's much older than the Copenhagen electric train. So aside from all the environmental impact, that electric train is cleaner, better kind of energy, it's better for the air quality, it's quieter, and all of those that I think other people are going to talk about. As a passenger experience, it's much more rewarding to be on an electric train.
Avrin Regenstreich, the PhD Treasurer of Transport 2000 Ontario.
It can be put in 3 words. Electrify, sooner, now. Don't wait until after the next election, or for 2012, or for 2015, or 2018, or 2024, or 2030. The process should have started 30 years ago. The facts have been there for all that time. So no more excuses, let's get going now. As an important first step, electrification of the airport link from Union Station appears to make sense for 3 reasons. 1, it will demonstrate that emissions from railway exhaust can be reduced to 0 very rapidly. 2, because it's an airport rail line which runs continuously around the clock, it will be able to use all of its available electricity supply 24/7, 365, while at the same time recovering up to 70% of its braking energy through regenerative braking. And regenerative braking can only be introduced with electrified railways. The diesel electrics cannot store electricity. Thus, no energy will be wasted, and energy savings alone will provide a dramatic payback for the economics of electrification of this demonstration line. Now, because the line must be built in time for the 2015 Pan Am Games, it's a relatively small project and can demonstrate how quickly and inexpensively electrification of commuter rail lines can be implemented within an urban region such as Toronto. Now, I have a great many other examples of other communities, and in order to keep my presentation as short as possible, I'll leave those for questions if you want. Thank you very much.
We can either embrace good science, good technology, good transit, and advocate for it, not just in our communities, but in communities right up to the airport, or we can simply let the sort of existential market forces of today drive tomorrow's solution. And I think that's the problem we have in government a lot of times, is that we take the expedient route, the easiest route, which is the low upfront cost, and let somebody else deal with the back end down the road. And the effects of that for young people, kid included, who plays in a park where the trains will run by, the cost of that, I don't know how you calculate it, but I can tell you it's unacceptable. And that's the choice in front of us. We're going to advocate to protect our communities and our neighbors' communities. We're going to advocate for technological solutions that solve problems rather than create problems. And we're going to push the government to make the smart call and the smart choice to protect the economics of the downtown, and more importantly, the environment of the downtown.
People in our riding, then it's letters, and it should be done ASAP, because the government can change its mind, and that's what we need to do. But if we got friends in another riding, where Glenn Murray
Yes.
has just been nominated to be the Minister of Innovation, and by the way, this government talks about being greener. That is a big deal for them, to be thought of as greening the economy. And for them, and so as Keith said, imagine, they're very, very passionate about saying we're greening the economy, and in the same breath, they're introducing diesel trains. How could you live with that contradiction? And yet they can. But you might want to remind them, if you're greening your economy, as you say you are, this is not doing it. And so these are other arguments you might want to put into the equation. If we're talking about innovation, as the Premier speaks of innovation all the time, talks about growing the economy with martial arts and gambling and so on. But this would be a better way to grow our economy by having electric trains. And so when the Premier says we want to focus our attention on innovation, this is the way to do it. And so you can't say on the one hand greening and have diesel trains. You can't say we are proud of the innovations we're making and yet have diesel trains. So these are the arguments in my mind that we should and must make if we're going to put a little longer letter to the Premier. But remember, the focus is the Premier, the pressure is the Premier, the letter should go to the Premier. If you've got friends in another riding, they should organize a meeting with the NDP. And we're talking face-to-face meetings. A face-to-face meeting is by far, in my mind, a much more powerful influence on me than a fax or an email or a letter. And so outside of this border, that's what I recommend by way of pressure.